To this day. To this day.
Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Hey, it's Bushido Spirit, back with another video, Euphoria Season 1 Episode 5, Bunny and Clyde, referring to Maddie and Nate's relationship. What appeared to be a loving tale of lovers in crime fighting the world with their backs against the wall was really two psychopaths fucking. Also, it's a Jay-Z and Beyonce song. It's time for the breakdown. But before I get into that, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. It lets you know when I drop videos.
I understand. You may be afraid to talk about how you got hurt. Well, I want you to know that it is not your fault.
So last week, Maddie realized Nate saw her as a fleshlight, but she was his favorite fleshlight. But a fleshlight all the same. Her frustrations caused her to go on a rampage, take Molly, knock over a hot pot of chili, and call Nate's mom a cunt. But Nate hates his mom, so he didn't really care about that. But it was the principle of the whole thing. That was some damn good chili. He had to choke her out, like Thanos did low-key. Fortunately, she survived, but her neck bared the marks. Now that we are all up to speed, let's discuss this backstory. Maddie knew who she was early on in life. So did everyone else. They loved her, cause she had something special. She didn't know what it was, nor did they, but pageants allowed her to showcase it. Something tangible, to be seen. Her numerous victories were tangible. They gave her confidence, the courage to dream. One day she would become Miss Universe. But sadly, it was not meant to be. News broke that Jeffrey Epstein used beauty pageants as personal child sex rings, and Maddie's mother had enough. No daughter of hers would be subjected to rape. Her pageant career was over. And it didn't matter. There was a reasonable distance between the incident and Maddie. She had never been touched, but her mother didn't care. Maddie, a once confident, talented girl, became apathetic and sheepish, like the women that came in and out her mother's nail shop. They looked important, but didn't actually do anything. Nothing at all, like her bum-ass daddy. However, unlike her daddy, they had a convincing front. So Maddie studied these women. She even created her own philosophy. Bad bitches pretend to have jobs. Basic bitches do honest work. I'm paraphrasing. Anyway, she met Nate. The two immediately fell in love. Nate was smart. He had goals and confidence. Maddie loved Nate, so her goals were his by proxy. But she wasn't being completely honest. She wasn't the pure version Nate has seen her as. After all, she lost her virginity to a 40-year-old dude at age 14. And in between their on and off again relationships, she fucked many guys. Producers, personal trainers, stockbrokers, maybe his brother, the mailman. I don't fuck everybody. But those weren't serious. She was Sharon Stone and Nate was Robert De Niro. He was her personal casino. All she had to do was make him feel powerful and confident, socially and sexually, and he'd come out of pocket. The higher the stakes, the bigger the reward, like a casino. And that was pretty much her backstory. So Maddie hit a single road bump and her whole life collapsed. Now she is solely reliant on a man, and she's 2 chokes away from flying to Dubai, a Instagram thoughts favorite destination. Maddie pulled up to the school like Kat in episode 1. The bruises on her neck were super obvious. No layer of makeup could cover it up. It was glowing. The shit was glowing. Like Nate was radioactive. Everything seemed to be going well. She'd get the occasional stares, but that's it, until her Eskimo getup gave her a heat stroke. She had on like 4 fucking layers of clothing. She was immediately rushed to the nurse's office, and disaster was avoided. But when she woke up, the principal was sitting across from her, asking about the bruises. She lied, obviously, so the situation required an internal investigation. The principal questioned a bunch of students, and they all added pieces to the puzzle. One of them even said Nate was gay, which I knew from episode 1, but it is what it is. Also, Maddie is fucking terrible at keeping secrets. Fuck. Or maybe it was on purpose. Anyway, Nate was called into a separate office. A couple of the students admitted to seeing Maddie with Nate last, and the authorities questioned him. They even called Papa Nate to possibly get more out of him. But nope. Nate didn't say anything. He denied everything. We then see Maddie arguing with her mother about pressing charges. Maddie doesn't want to. She loves Nate, but her mother does anyway, which is reminiscent of what happened with the pageant. Nate, like the pageant, is what she put her all into, and her mother is again taking that away. Throughout the episode, Maddie fights at the police station, everywhere. This may put an end to her relationship with Nate. They had to cut her clothes off to photograph the bruises because she refused to show anyone. That's how deep her love goes. It's depressing because Nate says he loves her but doesn't show none of the emotion. Maybe that's because the actor sucks. I don't know. But when that nigga saw Jules, his eyes lit up. I'm just saying. Anyway, the fallout was harsh. Nate isn't allowed to play football while the investigation is ongoing. And no one is talking to Maddie like she has leprosy or some shit. Which makes sense because Nate's popular and his father is very powerful. He owns half the city. Being ignored is making Maddie fall apart. She sent Nate hundreds of messages, but he didn't respond to any. And Kat is awkwardly throwing it back on every nigga in town, so she can't be bothered to comfort her friend. Cassie is worried about her, but she treats Cassie like shit. Their only interaction this episode is her scolding Cassie about Nate's hobby. He's a collector. At home, Maddie continues to fight with her mother, and her daddy just sits there, not saying nothing, not see or anything. This is why I love this show. They go the extra mile for emphasis. Deadbeat? That's not enough. Let's make him actually dead. Her parents are pretty fucked up, and you start to see why her idea of a relationship is fucked up. Her mother rightfully tells her her relationship with Nate is not love, but she is the wrong person to hear that from, given her situation. The episode ends with Nate finally responding to her text, or Nate calling Chris and telling Chris to tell Cassie to have her download some brand new app. He offers to meet her at the hotel his father fucks at. Maddie being in love with Nate, she goes to that hotel, and the episode ends. I don't know. I always get nervous when Nate wants to meet up, and Maddie is putting his football career in jeopardy, so death, murder, kill, kill, kill. Though he might have it under control, cause Nate is a master manipulator. They made it a point to call him intelligent this episode. On top of that, he's good at infiltration and espionage. Nigga's a full-blown Marine. If this football shit don't work out, give him a Tom Clancy spinoff. When the cops were questioning him, he knew what to say to make the cops doubt the initial narrative that he choked Maddie. He said she was on drugs. Not the usual stuff. This type of drug may have been a little bit stronger. It wasn't pure. And she's a serial cheater. She may have even cheated that night she was choked. Fuck. I don't know what he is planning. He could give Maddie an ultimatum like he gave Jules. Convince your mother to stop pressing charges, or I'll send out nudes of you or some I don't know. It's all possible. Or he could actually love Maddie and this meetup is just them getting together and possibly having more sex. I'm assuming there's some sort of restraining order in place. That's why it's difficult for them to meet. It's time for Rue and Jules. So Rue admits that fentanyl's to die for, cause almost dying wasn't enough to take her mind off it. But her obsession with Jules is even greater. So for now, she'll adhere to Jules' wishes and stay clean. However, she occasionally gets wet. No PCP. Her mother walks in on her petting the cat, but she doesn't notice. However, she is aware of Rue and Jules' relationship. It's obvious as fuck. Rue is not as apathetic as she normally is. She actually seems to care about shit. And her mother is okay with that. Her only words of advice is take it slow. But fuck that, we're young. Let's pay a toddler to tattoo the insides of our lips to say rules, an amalgam of Rue and Jules. At school, Rue and Jules are in the cafeteria, and Nate walks past, with cops and his father accompanying him. He had just got done talking to the cops about choking Maddie. Nate and Jules' eyes make contact, then Jules and Cal's, Nate's father. Awkward, Rue notices this and starts to pry. She knows Jules is keeping secrets. So does Nate know you're fucking his dad, she says. Jules lies, but Rue isn't bothered and makes a joke. You know, it'd be amazing if they paid you off and we do a bunch of cool shit together. Jules gets irritated and walks away. We then get a flashback. Jules reveals her body count, and fuck, it's record breaking. We also learn she likes being courted by guys. The sex is not really what she's after. It's rough and rapey most of the time anyway. Rue then talks about her sexual experiences, which include a dude coercing her into sucking his dick, and her doing the same to Lexi, but with a kiss. Long story short, all her experiences were awkward and forced, particularly the ones with guys. Jules may be the only real relationship she's had, with Lexi being a close second. Both are girls. Basically, Rue is gay. But unlike Nate, she isn't trying to hide it. Ali continues to try and get through to Rue, telling her nothing lasts forever. She needs to stop relying on Jules to solve her problems. Speaking of Jules, she's seen having dinner with her father. He is also aware of Rue X Jules, or Rules, and he fucks with it. Better than those near-death experiences at hotels with married men, eh? Obviously he doesn't know about that. But subconsciously his father's senses are tingling. Boys are rough, scissors over nails. Jules' father says she is a good influence on Rue, and Jules is bothered by that. Now that Rue is off the powder, everyone she lost is coming back around, including Lexi. Her, Jules, and Rue go to the skating rink. This is the first time we see the three together. Actually together. I don't really count the carnival. Lexi was invisible there. The three are having a great time, but happiness, hope, fuck that. This show is about depression. Hey, you like Rue X Jules? Fuck that. How about some more doubt? Lexi, like so many other people, tells Jules she is having a positive influence on Rue. She's been off the pipe for 13 days. Jules again seems bothered by the statement. Their storyline ends outside Rue's house. Rue wants Jules to stay the night, but Jules says no. She'd rather go home. But Rue can't get enough of her homie. She's like, "Can I come too?" And Jules hesitates at first, but begrudgingly agrees. Trouble in paradise. Jules doesn't like the idea of being responsible for Rue's health. That's too much pressure. Also, is Jules only using Rue to get over Tyler, aka Nate? I think Rue has a tough road ahead. Hopefully Lexi can brace her fall, cause Lexi just been in the cut waiting to pounce like a tiger.
Seriously, that was like one of the best blowjobs I've ever had.
Oh yes, Thickums. She had less screen time this episode, but her impact was felt. One guy lost his head. So Kat is not talking to Ethan because she thinks he is cheating on her, which they weren't really together anyway, and that claim is false. But she won't give him the opportunity to explain himself. He's left out in the cold. During third period in Mr. Bagelmeister's class, Ethan tries to get answers from Kat. He whispers, "Why you avoiding me? You're being mean. You're such a meanie." But Kat doesn't give a fuck, and she doesn't even respond. Most of this episode is Kat reassuring her beliefs, still manning that newfound confidence. Kat has gotten a complete makeover. She doesn't need Ethan. Her and the dude from Forever 21 are hanging out. He wants to take it slow and build a real relationship, but Kat is using him like a dildo. She doesn't feel the need to have small talk. Get to know each other. She be like, "You don't need to do this." Do what? Treat me like a person. You want a blowjob? I need to unlock a new skill to level up my Pornhub account. Anyway, she sucks dude's soul out his body, and he immediately starts copping pleas. This was the best blowjob I ever had. Fuck, Kat doesn't need any more experience points. It's all Johnny Unite fault. She just goes out and fucks older guys, and when they ejaculate too quickly, she gives them the "that's it" look, which is a soul crusher. I don't even know what to think about her storyline. Every guy to her looks like the dude from the bagel shop. Big dicks, small dicks, it doesn't matter. They're all pathetic. Guys are pathetic. She's sort of taking that internalized self-hatred she got from being fat and is pointing it into the direction of guys. All guys. She really out here being a dominatrix, crushing dicks literally and figuratively. Big girls need love, but you getting carried away with it. You not Ashley Graham, and you're twerking trash. Give real love a chance. Alright, moving on to Cassie. So the guy from the carnival is trying to come back for seconds, but Cassie has come to her senses. She is no longer under the influence. The Molly has dissipated, so she refuses his advances. But the guy doesn't care. He cool with being a side nigga. He trying to get like that carousel ride, soaked. Cassie continues to play defense though. And when the dude realized he wasn't getting any sex, he threatens to blackmail Cassie. Cassie looks at him for a bit and walks away eventually. I don't know what that was about. Cassie then goes on to tell Chris that Nate's phone looks like Kevin Spacey's search history. And it's also revealed that Cassie may have told Lexi. So Maddie and Cassie are terrible at keeping fucking secrets. Or maybe it's on purpose. Also this episode, her and Chris seem to be trying to repair their relationship. She says, "You act like you're embarrassed of our relationship." Chris says, "I'm not embarrassed. I love you. Just not when Nate's around." And finally, Cal goes back to the hotel. This time his dick ain't on swole. He's here to vent. I mean, if you can't talk to your prostitutes, who can you talk to? He believes his infidelity may be fucking up his kids. No shit, nigga. He says they have so much pent up anger and aggression, and his inability to come out is fucking them up. He doesn't think he should continue, certainly after what happened to Maddie. His son's career might be in jeopardy, and is all due to that aggression, that pent up rage and hatred. The end. That is pretty much my review this week. Tune in next time for another great review from yours truly. What are your thoughts on this episode? Did you agree with everything I said? Did you disagree? Put that down in the comment section below. Also like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That lets you know when I drop videos. Peace.